Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today we are going to have a look at the Kabloom, which is a unique legendary shotgun that comes from the event Safe and Sound. It's been several months since I've actually looked at this weapon, and with the September update, shotguns got an increase in damage and range, so I definitely think it's time to give this another look. So here are the default effects for the Kabloom. It is anti-armor, explosive, swift, and then it comes with a bonus poison effect. You get damage on hit, poison damage on hit, and then poison damage over time. What's cool about this weapon and any of the weapons that you actually can get from Safe and Sound is that you can modify any of the legendary effects and keep the poison damage for free. And I think it's because of that you could actually make a reasonable argument that this is the best shotgun. I'm not saying that it is or that it isn't, but the argument would go that, well, we can make it a 4-star weapon because we can add a 4th star onto that. And then we get that poison effect, which is essentially a 5th star. And there is no other shotgun that can give you 5 effects like that. And because we can change the effects to be whatever we want, that is what I have done. So the one I'm using is Furious with VATS Enhanced, Swift, and Bullies, which gives you bonus damage for every crippled limb a target has. I've also modified it with the Prime Receiver. That way I'm going to get the same damage as Hardened, but I get more range, plus I get bonus damage against Scorched and Scorch Beast. And the nice thing about shotguns that are not the Gauss shotgun is that they're all very ammo efficient, and you'll pretty much always get back way more ammo than you actually use, as long as you do a little bit of looting here and there. So here is the build. We have Shotgun Champ, which gives us 10% more damage to crippled targets per projectile the weapon fires. In this case, it is 8 projectiles, so 80% more damage there against a crippled target. And then Easy Target, 75% range damage to crippled targets. Love the Spread, this will just give us 30% more range. And Scatter Shot, this will help us cripple multiple limbs at a time. We've got Number Cruncher with an AP cost of 27. This will give us 54% more damage. Tormentor, 20% more damage per crippled limb a target has. We have Center Masochist with increased range that these things have. Hitting the weak spot is a lot easier, but in some cases you still cannot do that. So if you're hip firing or you just can't hit the weak spot, Torso is usually a pretty easy target. So 75% more damage there. Fast Fighter, this increases reload quite a bit. And since we do reload one round at a time, this should help a lot. So I do have Enforcer and Modern Renegade. Both of these will give bonus 75% limb damage. So because this weapon is Furious, I have Gorilla Master, Gorilla Expert, and Gunslinger Expert. Combine those all together, I should be able to get up to 20 onslaught stacks. And then Adrenaline, 10% per kill when I'm on a kill streak, up to 10. Critical Savvy 3, Luck of 16 should give me a critical hit every 3rd shot. And then Better Criticals will just increase the damage when I do those critical hits. Here are the mutations. We've got Speed Demon for bonus reload speed, super important when you're reloading one at a time. Herd Mentality, just bonus to all my specials. Herbivore, I do use those veggie-based foods, so this will give me extra benefit there. Egghead actually isn't going to do really anything for this weapon. Then we have Eagle Eyes, which is bonus critical damage, plus extra perception, which feeds into the awareness perk, which just helps with the VATS accuracy. Bird Bones, just an extra agility. We're not sneaking, so it's just going to give us a little bit more AP. And then Adrenal Reaction, 5% per kill versus the 10% you get with Adrenaline. And here are the foods, the most important ones. Steeped Thistle Tea. Normally I use Blight Soup because it's just easier, but I ran out. And I happen to have one of these. It gives the same bonus, 100% critical hit damage. And then Sweetwater Special Blend, when you match that with Party Boy, gives me an extra 12 perception, which really boosts that awareness perk. Okay, and I do like playing this run and gun style, so no suppressor. Okay. There we go. And there's not one up there. So let's see, should be another target. I mean, oops, no, how's... Oh, he was facing away from me. I'm like, how am I getting 0% on the head? It's usually better than that. So I've tried a bunch of effects on this. I've tried Furious, I've tried 2-shot, Juggernauts, lots of different things, and they all work pretty well. And even the anti-armor that comes with it, the default, and they all work reasonably well. I mean, against most of these enemies, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see a one-hit most of the time against most regular enemies. Maybe not a level 100. They tend to be, well, okay, sometimes you do that once we get the adrenaline going. But the thing about Furious is that since it doesn't really matter much against most regular enemies, which one of these effects you use, it's going to be a pretty similar result no matter what. Furious actually will scale higher. So when you're fighting a tankier enemy like a boss, Furious is actually going to come out on top by a pretty decent margin. All right, so we already know if he has his back to me, that's not good. But yeah, even shooting just the leg, this is such a cripple machine. We have full adrenaline going though, so that does make... And this does highlight an issue with it. So you get that bonus poison effect, and he actually died at that point. But for most enemies, poison just isn't tremendously useful. We don't have anything that boosts poison. We've got something that boosts cryo, fire, bleed damage now, so for melee weapons, but there really isn't anything that actually boosts the poison, you know, the effect of the poison damage itself. Oh, nice legendary. Oh, 2-star, not a 3-star. Okay, there's, these things are pretty tanky, and the poison, it's poison. You can see the poison resistance was pretty high. 200 poison resist is actually quite high, but now we have to come down here because I want to get me a, I'm sure it'll be an amazing legendary. There we go. And of course, now that we're fighting robots, that poison effect, not tremendously useful, although if you're one-hitting them, it doesn't really matter. I did try, you know, as far as the 4-star effects on this goes, there's actually quite a few good options. You could use the Viper's effect, which gives you bonus damage when targets are being poisoned, which, you know, when you have a weapon that deals poison damage, that's actually pretty good synergy there. Well, 1 shot for you. Another option would be Fractures, which basically makes, you know, anytime you cripple a limb, it explodes. And that's one thing shotguns do really well, is cripple limbs. Another option will be Pinpointers. Because of the increased range that you get from these, hitting weak spots is actually fairly easy. Hitting anything is actually fairly easy compared to how it used to be. All right, let's go in with the fully loaded gun here and see if we could do some crippling. These are quite a bit tankier than they used to be. But if you could do some crippling, once you cripple the legs, okay. I was gonna say once you cripple the legs, they stop shooting at you, but apparently I was lying. So now he's dead. All right, I think he's dead. I can't VATS him anymore, and someone else is shooting at me. There we go. I mean, this is, I like how shotguns have turned into like long range, not necessarily sniper, although with all the scope perks, you could do that if you wanted to, but they actually work at really decent ranges now. Now, one thing I like about this versus, say, a double barrel, because, you know, double barrel is actually quite strong as well, especially if you make it into a quad, is that you can suppress this. I don't tend to run it that way. I like to do run and gun with my shotguns, but it actually does work pretty well as a, there we go, as a stealth weapon. Combat shotgun as well does that, but there we go. Yeah, I would love to see a unique combat shotgun, because I do like those quite a lot, and it would actually be kind of cool if we got a unique named combat shotgun with a special effect on it, where we could actually modify the effects as we wanted. Now, versus other types of shotguns, the double barrel and the combat shotgun, this does have a couple of knocks against it. Number one is the fire rate. It is quite slow. You're gonna have that delay because of that pump action in between shots. So it is gonna have a slower fire rate than other types of shotguns. Also, the fact that you do reload one at a time, that is a bit of a holdback, because you can reload the other ones, you know, fully faster than you can reload this. But with reload perks, I mean, it's still pretty quick. It's not amazing. Now, you can't always interrupt the reload part of the way through. But yeah, that's so it's definitely not the be all end all of shotguns, because it does have some knocks against it, but overall you can see it is very strong. Let's see how we do here. Now, I did actually try this against the Guardian just because I was curious in the raid. And like, the damage is okay against the shield because, you know, it is a limb and this does well at crippling. Apparently there's no Mirelurks here. The problem is the fire rate that I mentioned before. It just fires so slowly that if you're using this as stealth, which is what I was trying to do, you can't really get off more than like 1 shot. And you're just not doing enough damage to make up for that. You shoot 1 shot and then you're in danger, and then you have to move again. So it's not really the right tool if you're into soloing, you know, as a helper. You know, if you're part of a team, it works fantastic. But if you are trying to solo it, this is just the wrong tool for the job. In that case, probably a pepper shaker would be more your speed, although I consider that not really a pure shotgun. It's more of a hybrid situation. Let's get those spouts nice and crippled. And yeah, sometimes she can actually be in a pretty bad spot where you can't actually target her at all. But I think we got her before she got too close to the edge here. Let's do those spouts and just whittle away at her health. You can see we're getting some actually, I mean, she has a ton of health, but you can see we're getting quite good damage numbers. I mean, 470 right there. You know, that is ×8. So when you're getting over 3,000 damage from 1 pull of the trigger, that is not too bad. So in theory, because this does have the ultra sight ammo, I should actually do pretty well against these particular enemies. Let's see. Yeah, this doesn't really have a sight on it. Not sure that that would matter. I'm not a particularly fantastic shot, but got its attention. Well, I thought I did. I don't think the poison is going to do much to that at all. I think they actually have, I mean, the bosses tend to have quite, and it is a boss, you know, boss type enemy anyway. The bigger enemies tend to have pretty decent, there we go. Pretty decent resistance when it comes to poison. But you can see we're doing okay. I mean, everything's pretty much a one-shot. Okay. It's not doing what I want. Come over here. I mean, it's not fighting anything else. I don't know. There we go. But the fact that we have such nice range means we can cripple that wing, make sure just everything, I went the wrong way. All right, everything's crippled, so we should be able to get this on the ground now. But the poison resist, you can see 345. That's very high, which means the poison, you know, the damage from poison is just not really going to do much at all. But we should get a land here at some point. I mean, it's crippled. To me, it seems like if it's got a crippled wing, it should just fall from the sky. It shouldn't be a situation where it thinks about what it's going to do. It should just fall out of the sky right away. But that's not what happened. And there you have it, the Kabloom. After all the adjustments that shotguns have had this year, they're just in a really good spot. And at the moment, the Kabloom is my favorite version of the shotgun. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit one of the buttons. And I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.